Hello mathematicians, this is Mr. Mailhot. Let's do some math. This is page 2 of your packet. I know it doesn't say video, but I made you an extra one. Let's just do a couple to review, and then I want to show you how you might do some on page 3, okay? I'm going to do just a couple, and then you got to do the rest. Remember, we have a poster up at the front of the room about open circles are for less than and greater than, and closed circles for inequalities on a number line are less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. So let's just do a couple, just so you, as a quick reminder. For number 1, b is less than 4. Well, put a circle, open circle, because it's just less than, on 4, the number that it gave you. And less than means all the numbers smaller than -4. Well, that would be like 3 and 2 and 1 and 0. And all of these numbers down here, which is why we draw our arrow that way. Now for problems like number 2, remember we could list out some numbers that work, but when you don't, when the variable comes second, sometimes it's helpful to flip everything around so that it looks like the rest of them, and then you don't have to do that extra thinking step. Now if we flip the number and the letter around, the number and the variable, you also got to spin the inequality around. We're just mirroring it like a mirror. Flip it. And this one's, now it says n is greater than or equal to -3. So that means go to -3, this time closed circle, because it has this or equal to sign, which is filled in circle. Numbers that are greater than -3, well, that's all these numbers up here. I mean, I always, if I get a brain fart and I get stuck, I just look at the number at the end and say, well, does that number work for this? Is 7 greater than -3? Yeah, so draw my arrow out to that number, okay? I'm going to jump down. If you want to pause and work on all these ones, you can, but I'm going to jump down to number 11 and 12 just as a quick recap. Remember, you can pause at any time. For number 11, I see a closed circle, and it's on 0. So I'm going to just pick the variable x for every time. X and 0, that's the number they started with. It should have an or equal to or a line under it because it's filled in, and it's going to numbers smaller than 0, all the negatives. For number 12, I'm going to use x again. This is my strategy, x, put the number that the circle's on. I see it's an open circle, so no line under it. And these are all numbers greater than 3, so x has to be greater than 3. Okay? Again, you could pause there, finish the problems on this side. I'm not going to do an answer key. You guys can do it. Work together on it. When you're ready, come back for page 3, and we're going to do 4 quick problems on page 3 here. Okay? So, pause this, get to work on page 2, and when you're ready, come back for page 3. Pause it now. Did you pause? Pause it. Okay, now you're back. All right. We're going to do a couple of these problems where it says one-step inequality practice. Guys, you will find this so straightforward. I really like these just because it's what we've been learning, and we get to show it on a number line too. Instead of drawing a line through the inequality sign, draw some bars around it, because I don't want you to cross it out. It'll help, trust me, it'll help, especially when things come later when we have to flip the sign around. The same steps work as with equations. If this one says plus 20, then we minus 20 on both sides. If this one says minus 3, we're going to add 3 on both sides. If this says plus 16, we're going to minus 16. And this one, well, the plus 7's over here, so let's minus 7 on both sides. That's the one step. Now, cancel, cancel, cancel because it's 0, cancel because it's 0. Bring down your variable, k, a, p for this one. Now for all these problems, remember what we talked about at the first video, dividing and multiplying by a negative. Did we divide or multiply by a negative on any of these? No. We used some negatives, like this, subtracting, and there was a negative here, minusing, but we're not dividing or multiplying. So all of these signs stay exactly how they need, or exactly how they were at the start of the problem. They all stay the same. Then you just got to do the math on the other side. 1 minus 20 is negative 19. Negative 1 plus 3 gives you 2. 10 minus 16 is negative 6. If you're not sure about these, double check me on a calculator. I could totally make mistakes. It's possible. 24 minus 7 is 17. Okay. These are the things you graph on the number line, just like the page before, except number 4, let's just do number 4 and then I'll leave you alone. Number 4, remember, it's helpful when the variable is not in the front to flip it around all the way. That means this, and to flip it around to make it easier to graph, you do flip the sign around also. So p is greater than or equal to 17. With these blank number lines for number 4, just put the number that you end with in the middle. So for like number 1, you'd put a negative 19 there. It's good to put some numbers on either side, maybe at least one number. For number 2, you'd put 2, and then here's 3, and there'd be 1 and 0 and 4. For number 3, you'd put negative 6 here. This would be negative 5. This would be negative 7. This is 17. Here's 18. Here's 16. Let's just do number 4. Should be open or closed? Closed, because it has a line under it. It's or equal to. 17 is included in the solution. 17 is greater than or equal to 17. It's equal. And this says numbers greater than 17 or equal to 17, so those numbers are greater to the right. Okay, that's it. You should finish page 1 through 4 today. If not, it's homework. Remember, you learn and get smarter by doing, not just watching. So now go do some math. Bye.